Hey everyone, and welcome. Taxis are just a part of city life, but dealing with them can be, well, a little tricky. So today, we're going to break down a full guide on taxi safety. We're looking at this from two really important angles. First, how to stay safe if you're a driver sharing the road with them, and second, how to keep yourself safe when you're the one in the passenger seat. All right, let's get into it. Wow, this quote, it really hits home, doesn't it? It just perfectly captures that feeling we've all had, that sudden swerve out of nowhere, the unexpected stop. And it really highlights why being prepared is so important, no matter which side of the taxi door you're on. So here's what we've got lined up. We'll kick things off by figuring out why taxis can be so unpredictable. Then we'll get into some super practical guides for both drivers and passengers. After that, we'll tackle the logistics of fares and tipping, and we'll wrap it all up with a final question to get you thinking. Okay, let's get right to the heart of the matter. Taxis are often called one of the most unpredictable vehicles on the road. But why is that? What is actually going on behind the wheel that makes them such a unique hazard to deal with? This isn't just about a few bad drivers. It's really about a whole system of pressures. The economic reality forces them to get as many fares as possible, which can lead to some, let's say, aggressive driving. The long hours cause real fatigue. And of course, there's that signature move, the sudden, instinctive stop for someone hailing them on the street, which can throw the entire flow of traffic into chaos in a split second. All right, so now that we know why they drive that way, what can you actually do about it when you're driving near one? Let's jump into our defensive guide for sharing the road. Look, the real key here is to think one step ahead of that taxi driver. First, learn to spot the warning signs, a cab slowing down or hovering near the curb. That's your signal to ease off the gas and, this is the big one, keep your distance. That buffer zone isn't just empty space, people. It's your reaction time. It's what's going to save you when they make that sudden, inevitable stop right in front of you. Okay, let's switch gears. We've covered how to handle things from the outside, but what about when you're the one hopping in the back? Being a passenger brings a whole new set of safety rules to the game. So, your very first decision is probably the most important one you'll make. On one hand, you've got licensed, regulated taxis with background checks and vehicle inspections. On the other hand, a total unknown. The difference boils down to one word: accountability. So, before you ever get in, look for those official markings. It is your first and best line of defense. And here's your personal toolkit for staying safe inside the cab. A few key highlights. Always share your trip details. A quick text to a friend with a cab number can make a world of difference. Sitting in the back seat is also a great idea. It gives you more personal space, and it's generally safer in a sudden stop. But maybe the most crucial tip here: trust your gut. If a situation feels off, it probably is. Don't ever hesitate to ask the driver to pull over in a safe public place so you can get out. Okay, so you're in a safe taxi, you're on your way. Now we get to the part that trips a lot of people up: the money and the manners. Let's break down how fares are actually calculated and the sometimes tricky world of tipping. It's really not as mysterious as it looks on the meter. Pretty much every taxi fare is made up of these three parts. You've got the flag drop. That's just the flat fee for starting the ride. Then the meter adds charges based on the distance you go and the time you spend sitting there. That's why the fare keeps ticking up even when you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. All right, let's watch how this adds up. The second you get in and that door closes, bam, the meter starts with a base fare. We'll say $3. Then it starts clocking the distance. Let's imagine a 5-mile trip at $2.50 a mile. That adds another $12.50. But, you hit traffic. So the meter is also charging for time. Let's say 20 minutes at 50 cents a minute. That's another $10 right there. And there you have it. The base fare plus the distance plus the time gives you your grand total of $25.50. See? Now, that number on the meter makes perfect sense. And now, let's talk about the global minefield of tipping. Seriously, the rules change like crazy depending on where you are. In the US or Canada, 10 to 20% is pretty standard. Over in the UK, you might just round up the fare. But try to tip in Japan, and it could be seen as confusing, maybe even a little rude. The big takeaway: when in doubt, a quick search on local customs can save you a lot of awkwardness. So we've covered a ton of ground, from defensive driving tactics to how to stay safe as a passenger and how fares work. To bring this all home, let's end with one last, deeper question for you to chew on. It really makes you think, right? After everything we've talked about, what's at the real root of all this? Is it the individual driver making all these split-second decisions and juggling a dozen things at once? Or is it the invisible economic system behind them that's really shaping their every move? It's definitely something to consider the next time you see a taxi on the road. We hope this guide helps you navigate that world with a bit more confidence and maybe a little more understanding. Thanks for watching.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.